Hello, everyone. We're back. This is Andres Almera from JNation 2024. And with me is Mary Grygleski.
Yes.
So, Mary, can you say some words about yourself, please?
Sure. Thank you so much, Andres, and thank you to JNation. So I'm a Java champion, and I also recently started a new gig or job as an AI practice lead for a consulting firm. But I'm still doing some level of advocacy, and which was kind of always been my passion. So I was a Java developer advocate, streaming advocate, Gen AI advocate for the past 6 years before becoming this AI practice lead. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also Java champion, I already said it. And then also I run the Chicago Java Users Group. As well as in Chicago, there's also an AI Camp chapter too, of which I'm a co-lead. So yeah, so I'm active with the community. I'm also just in general, I'm just very interested in a lot of technology, wanting to kind of learn about it, share about it with the community. So yeah.
Okay. So I don't know is this your first time at JNation? So what is your impression about the conference so far?
Sure, that's a great question. I love it, JNation. It's got such a great atmosphere, very community-driven, very friendly folks, and great fellow speakers. And yeah, it's a great place, and it's great weather now, and all these things. It's just Portugal is such a lovely country. The city itself, it's got the history, it's got some new things, and I'm kind of fascinated by it. I'm enjoying it a lot, yeah. And JNation itself also is very nice. It's got a lot of developers. Everybody's enthusiastic, so that's very good. They're eager to learn, so.
Great. So the session that you have today, the topics that you're going to cover, so what can you tell us about that?
Sure. So I actually just presented. It's actually about generative AI, and it actually is an introductory session to introduce like generative AI to primarily developers and Java developers also. Being JNation being more of a Java-centric focus. Developer conference, although I also now see there are other languages and people coming in, which is great. We're opening up as polyglot. And so, yeah, so that's why I talk about generative AI as such, right? It has captured so much attention, like ChatGPT, all of these things. So it's sort of like demystifying it, kind of my goal, because there's a lot of excitement, but there are also a lot of not quite understanding what it is, but there are also people using it everywhere. ChatGPT through OpenAI or other models, Google, all of these things, chatbot. So I think there's a lot of we need to sort it out what it is, and as developers, what we can do. We're not just like user of it. Of course, a lot of us are using GitHub Copilot, for example, to write our code. But the thing is, though, for us to be able to, as developers, develop useful applications and ethical kind of concern of these things too. So that was my talk, more introductory, and be aware of a lot of things and what are the different areas we should be focusing our efforts on as developers of these systems. So, yeah.
Right, so there are very facets about Gen AI. Such one thing is just like a regular consumer, where you are a developer that uses ChatGPT services or Copilot or some sort of AI assistant that allow you to write code that we will probably deem as boilerplate or something that may not necessarily be boring, but is maybe repetitive. So it's something that likely tools will be much easier to understand. But of course, there is always this creative way that we think that programming should work. It's more like a craft. It's not necessarily something that can be really counted and automated in every single way. But that is just the consumer side. But also on the producer side, we as developers will be the ones writing integrations and adding AI into existing systems that did not have it before to enhance it in some way. So is that something that you cover in your session?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Andres, you articulated it so well. Yeah, there is consumer side and producer side, and it is very true. I think my session too was really covering, like an overall thing. And it's, although 45 minutes is actually, that was my lecture session. I also have a workshop in which I'll go a bit deeper. But for me too, it is very true. It's an introductory, but with the producer side in mind more so than being consumer, I'd say. That was my goal, because I feel that a lot of developers here at the conference is to understand that not just being consumer, but we are also developing, coming out with systems and applications for other people to use. So in the sense, it's producer. And that was more of the focus of my talk than it was as consumer. How do you use it? Yeah, I think the using part especially for developers, we kind of understand how to use it. Yeah, but of course we need to understand the ethical usages as well. But I find that as developers, we are responsible too for making this something that's sustainable and ethical to use, and that's my goal. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you also have a workshop, so that's probably likely happening tomorrow. Is there what set of technologies are you going to cover, or frameworks or tools that you may showcase at this workshop?
Sure. So because it's a 2-hour workshop, not too long, but I like to be able to showcase, for example, for Java developers, we can use LangChain 4J. And so I just have a couple exercise and explaining LangChain 4J, sort of, and going a little bit in depth, over what I did in my presentation, and for LangChain 4J, as well as introducing vector database and using like PG vector. This one is quite easier to use than others, but more like an extension to Postgres, right? Postgres is a popular open source database, so I figure it will be good to kind of use that and see how you can translate data into embeddings and using the embedding model and do some simple query, all those things. So yeah, again, very introductory for the workshop, but hopefully kind of stir up interest in a lot of folks that they can take it into their real world application and do more creative things with it. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Is there is there anything else that you would like to share with the JNation audience, whether it's about the conference itself, your experiences so far at the conference, or I know, and we mentioned that you're also a Java champion and you are one of the leaders of the Chicago user group. So there's the other topic about that is prevalent here at the conference is the community. So Java champions are about community, and user groups are about our community. So what else can is about Java and community?
Oh, sure. I love it. This is a great question because that's why I'm involved with the Java community and also specifically in Chicago, the CJUG. And not only that, actually, I feel like because of that, I get to know other JUG leaders from all over the world. And I want to kind of tell folks, too, especially if you're feeling stuck or just feel like, I'm doing my work, not learning, but go to one of your local Java users group. It's a really great way. And I know, Andre, you're a great Java champion and such a great leader, and we always encourage people to come together as community, sharing knowledge. All of these things is really great. Now, another thing I wanted to point out is, interestingly, because of my work getting into more Gen AI, I don't feel I'm switching things completely over. To me, I think it's expanding my skill set into AI. I'm still going to be working with Java and see how we can bring the two kind of better integrated, right? So as a result, too, because of my community involvement, I also got invited to become the chapter co-lead for AI Camp, which is another like meetup group, and it's slightly different nature, but still, they have a lot of audiences from all over the world. It's like 300,000 in a lot of cities, major cities too. They're adding chapters. So to me, I feel like, right, I'm like carrying the spirit of the Java champion from the Java community into that community as well. And I think it's great, a lot of excitement to see people talking about things that they are working on or just asking questions, and people are sharing what they are working on. I think that's a great thing. I think that's how we can make innovation happens. We are making history as we go along. What we're doing today can become like big milestone for tomorrow that we can look back on. So not just that, just kind of even like simple things, we're making progress on a personal level. It's all good. I think we're just making progress on, with this field. I think it's exciting to me. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Perfect.
great.
Well, thank you so much, Mary, for sharing, and thank you everyone for watching, and see you next.
Thank you.